it's time to bring on a very special guest. So, it is a pleasure to welcome to Buffoon of the Year a man I have an immense amount of respect for. I've been a guest on his show, and he's treated me so well. He's a senior fellow at Freedom Works, a wonderful radio host and TV host, currently doing the C.L. Bryant Show on Red State Talk Radio, the Reverend C.L. Bryant. I'm sorry I can't see you, but I'm glad to have you on the show.
Well, I'm really glad to be on with you, and thank you so much for having me on.
It is absolutely my pleasure. I wanted to talk to you because you have the pulse of so much with your radio show. You know what's going on in so many different spheres of politics. And to me, it seemed like this was a wackier year than normal. Would you agree with that? There were a lot more, for lack of better words, there were a lot more buffoons this year in politics than you would see in a normal garden variety year.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? They are breeding like rabbits, the buffoons in our nation. And I can't help but think of one that sticks out in my mind, especially, and that is Brother Jamal Bowman. And every 9-year-old that I've run into knows, every 5-year-old that I've run into knows what a fire alarm looks like, but apparently this member of Congress did not.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you on that. And not to toot my own horn, but I kind of called it. I said when remember when the still shot first came out of that, the screenshot of the video that was taken, the surveillance video, and it looked like he had something in his hand. I said, I bet you it's those signs.
Flashback.
So when we go to look at the scene itself, we see that that sign actually says emergency exit only. So he has already walked by the emergency exit sign to go to that fire alarm, which, as you can see, is on the side here. Look, I'll circle it for you right now. There are also 2 additional signs on the door that if you look at, say, emergency exit only. Now, if you go back to the photo of Congressman Bowman pulling the alarm, I can't tell for sure, but it looks to me like those 2 signs on the door are missing. And we're also seeing something in Congressman Bowman's hand, but it looks to be the approximate size of those signs. Let's take a look at this again. So what's in his hand there? I think that's going to be crucial to determining what the motive of Congressman Bowman was. If that is indeed those signs that we see in this other photo, that could be damning.
End of flashback.
What was he thinking? Have you ever pushed a door open by pulling a fire alarm? I know I haven't.
I never have. I must be honest. I never have. I don't think the squad has. I don't think Ocasio-Cortez has done that either. All buffoons, at least eligible buffoons, of the a year award.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. Since you mentioned the squad, let's talk about them for a second. I noticed a pattern when they were given their initial reaction on October 7th after Hamas attacked Israel. They all seemed to say, oh, this is a tragedy. Then they all said that we need a ceasefire. And then they all said this was Israel's fault. It seemed like there was a pattern there. Of all the members of the squad, in reaction to what happened in Israel with Hamas attacking them and the fallout since then, is there any member of the squad that sticks out to you more than most?
Tlaib sticks out probably more than most. Tlaib is a communist. She does not like America or American values. The Jews she has thrown under the bus on many occasions. As being a black man in this country, I do know, and being a black man of a certain age, having come out of the 60s, my parents were activists. I know that without Jewish support, for the civil rights movement, black people would not have had a civil rights movement, period. And I mean Jewish rabbis all the way down to Louisiana, where I'm from, certainly were a big part of that. Rabbi Henry Lefkowitz, God rest his soul, was one of those that distinctly come to mind. And I don't understand the misinterpretation of history or the Jewish people in this nation or in Israel itself. I can't understand how defiantly ignorant our young people are, and I can't understand why our college professors are indeed pumping the bloodline of American children with the very poison that can steal their birthright.
I completely agree. As always, I completely agree with you. We seem to be very in sync on a lot of things. I do want to be as even-handed as possible. There are buffoons on both sides of the aisle, and I know that you're intellectually honest as well, Reverend. Is there anybody that jumps out at you for being dumb on the right, or being nonsensical on the right, or hypocritical on the right, that really sticks in your craw?
Well, when we look at Getz and people like that, we certainly know that people from this side of the aisle, let's say, we know who our friends are, we know who our enemies are, and we also know that there is a lack of knowledge. Let's say Rush used to put it this way: the uninformed voter. And when you talk about people wanting to drop on both sides of the aisle, who would like to drop the voting age to 16, you are looking at a certain type of buffoonery that I don't know if you have a 16-year-old or have been around a 16-year-old, and I just know that that type of thing coming out of a Republican mouth is one that is well ill-advised. There's no question about it. However, when we look at also some of the presidential candidates that have emerged and that have come out. I'm not saying that there are any buffoons among them, but I am saying that anyone, and this is just my personal opinion, anyone that does not see that Donald Trump is a juggernaut and he is going to be the nominee for the Republican Party, as far as I can tell, he's going to win Iowa and he's going to win New Hampshire. And there is no stopping him unless the judicial system does that. And so, yes, the buffoonery among rhinos, you name them, you pick them, and because I really can't tell anyone
Well, listen,
how to choose.
I know that you come from the tradition of enforcing the 11th commandment, but I'm
Thou
going
shalt not speak
to
evil.
name some names. And you know what? I don't care. Who am I? Nobody's going to know who I am. I'm going to name some names. The name that comes to mind when you were talking about the presidential race is Chris Christie, and here's why.
Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Ew, this is so cringe. Guilty.
I think Chris Christie, I think he's conservative at heart. I think that he certainly is well-meaning and well-intended in a lot of ways, but he's running for the wrong reasons. He is running what an Italian from Brooklyn would call vendetta. That's the reason he's in the race. That's his whole point for being in it. And that's the wrong thing to do, because what happens is you become obsessed during vendetta. You start fixating during vendetta. And he has a hyperfixation on Donald Trump for some reason. I guess he didn't like that he didn't get a cabinet position or something like that. Let's talk about the buffoonery of obsession as it pertains to Chris Christie for a minute.
Obsession in any form is absolutely something that will drive you mad. And let's talk about something that both you and I can relate to. I was a chubby kid, okay?
I still am.
Let's look at the psychological thing that's happening here with Christie, because I've been a pastoral counselor for many years, and I think Chris has some really deep-seated. I've met him on several occasions. I think he has some really deep-seated problems, and I just think that he uses this, like you said, vendetta against Trump in a way that sort of justifies everything bad that may have happened to him along the way. Christie comes off to me like the typical and he should be the poster child for sour grapes. That's what I see here. Christie embraced Obama, and maybe rightly so, after the weather event that went on up there in New Jersey. But Chris Christie needs to let that go, and he needs to let the party go ahead and choose our leader, as I think we have, and he needs to sit down somewhere. He needs to sit down somewhere. That's what I'm saying.
Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. But enough bashing Republicans. We can be, like I said, we can be equal in...
Stupid glitches!
We can be equal and even-handed and still understand that there are probably more buffoons on the left side of the aisle than there are on the right at this point anyway, because I think the left is a little more outspoken because they have more of a platform, including politics and the media. I want to talk to you about one recent incident that's going on in Boston right now. This Boston mayor who created this colored-only Christmas party. And I've seen people in the media like what's her name from Rising on the Hills YouTube channel, Brianna Joy Gray,
Yes.
defending this division for the sake of division. I thought we were all supposed to come together and recognize that we can be inclusive and also recognize and celebrate our differences. What happened to that?
You know, I lived through the 60s. I was born in the 50s. I was born in 1956.
And you're only 30 years old. That's amazing.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And it's the mathematical
it's lawyer math.
miracle.
Call it lawyer math. That's what it is.
That's what we'll do. But, you know, I lived through that era. And what's happening is that you have professors and even high school, elementary school teachers who are trying to rob the valor of civil rights workers like my parents, who paid a price that young people today can never even imagine. I grew up in the segregated South, and I can tell you firsthand that this is not 1964. It is not 1956 when I was born here in America. This is 2023. I would think that we would be far enough down the road to have gotten past this and be dealing with other issues, and not climate change either, but other issues that affect our society, like crime and inflation, food prices, gasoline prices, but not color. I think we all agree that we had nothing to do with the color of our skin when we arrived on this planet. Absolutely nothing. So how then can we adequately justify being segregated in 2023 based on the color of our skin? If you'll notice, Dr. King, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, all of them who espoused conservative values and who were Republican, by the way, they are not talked about by the Al Sharptons of today. They're not talked about by the Squad. You never hear King's name come out of the Squad's mouth. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear Frederick Douglass heralded as a hero for those who wanted a blueprint to success in this country if your skin happened to be black and if you happen to have been a former slave, as Frederick Douglass was. But it's easy to lead people who are ignorant to a place where those who are speaking the loudest are speaking. They go there. And they go there because it is the most popular thing, the most in vogue thing, but not the right thing. And I got to tell you, I do this job that I've done for many years now. I do this not because it's popular, not because it's a black thing or a white thing or a Tea Party thing or a conservative thing. I do this because I believe it is right.
Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah!
I defend conservative values. I defend the Republic because only in America can a story like the one I can tell you be told. It can't be told anywhere else. It can't be told in Nigeria or Scotland. It can't be told in France, but it can be told here in America. And my story is a story of triumph and not a story of victimization. And so that in itself is the one thing that I think is causing our young people to really, really go down a path that will lead to their destruction.
Very well said. And listen, I want you to start bragging on yourself a little more here, because you've done so much work. I mean, I'm going to put a bio in the description of the video so everybody can understand how long you've been at this. Not only that, but also the incredible work that you do. Let's talk about your radio show and all that you do on Red State Talk Radio and all the work you do with Freedom Works as well.
The work I've done with Freedom Works over the past 14 years, I served as their senior fellow 14 years. And in that time frame, we made an award-winning film. It's called Runaway Slave. In fact, you can catch it on Tubi tonight if you want. If you have Tubi on your smart TV, you go to Tubi and just type in Runaway Slave. It'll pop up. It's a documentary about leading people, Black people in particular, away from the tyranny of big government, Democrat policies, and leading them to the freedom of the free market and the capitalist way of thinking about making money and the individualism that comes along with that. Red State is the largest conservative talk platform in the nation, and we have a big billboard there in Times Square atop
I've seen it,
the iconic Ripley's Believe It or Not. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the CL Bryant Show does pop up there. And OCL's looking right back at you there in Times Square. And so the Lord has blessed me to do those things. Many of the Black conservatives, younger Black conservatives that you see coming out on television now, including Candace Owens, I can actually claim them as my disciples because they spew so much out of their mouths that came directly out of my film, Runaway Slave. And once you take a look at it, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that was 11 years ago now.
It doesn't seem that long ago. I remember when this came out. I've seen it. It's a very important work that people need to see. It's on Tubi right now, so folks, go check it out there. You said the Lord has blessed you with being able to do this work. The Lord has blessed me with your friendship, sir, and I really, truly appreciate all the conversations we've had on air, off air. You're one of a kind, CL, and I truly, truly appreciate that. Listen, CL, any other things you want me to plug before I let you go?
Well, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on the CL Bryant Show. We're on Red State 1205 until 2 p.m., usually daily, but we certainly thank you for joining us whenever you can.
Oh, absolutely. Check out the CL Bryant Show on Red State Talk Radio. And again, it's on in the afternoons, starting at 12:05 most days. Check it out online, CL. You're a gem. You're the absolute best. Take care, my friend, and be well. I'll talk to you soon.
God bless and keep you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.